Now, yes, let's get to the narration of One Piece 1155. So, let's go, huh? After the intro, hello folks, welcome very much to the channel, and besides asking for your like and subscription, I have two messages. The first is, watch this video until the end, recommend it or watch it more than once. We are very close to the channel's metrics. Help me with that. And the second information is the information about chapter 1156. Tips leaks should return soon to my main channel, but here I will still bring a lot of extra content, and thanks for the help you are giving us in this moment of turbulence. Well, enough stalling, let's get to the video. Starting with the chapter title, The ROCKS Pirates. Cover is a colored cover. The Straw Hat crew is walking upstairs above the city rooftop. I think I know why this cover, but I'll leave this explanation for the analysis video, which, by the way, will still come out on this channel. Before everything, it's fundamental to read the original chapter that will be released on Sunday, the 20th of July, for complete understanding. We don't work with scans here. Page 1. The chapter starts with Loki answering questions asked by Zebeck in the previous chapter. Loki says, "Yes, this is Elbof, but the old man is not here. He went on an expedition. You there are those tiny humans, right? It's the first time I see one. Wow, you really move. Haha, how cute. But wait, did you come with the old man? Are you Harald's sons or something?" Zebeck then says, "Expedition, huh? Well, even if he is on an expedition, he could still keep in touch, right?" Well, Loki, then do exactly as I say. Go back home now and send someone to contact your father, and send this message to him. Elbof was attacked and his son Loki got hurt. Come back to treat your son's wounds. Loki then says, "Wait a minute, human. You're the one who has to obey me, you know? What makes you think my father would come back for something like my injuries? And don't give me orders, you're just a weakling." Then Loki attacks Zebeck. Meanwhile, the narrator says, "ROCKS sword attacks were known for making objects around him fly, as if it were the impact of a giant hammer or a cannon shot." Zebeck then hits Loki. A note here, Zebeck's strike pose looks a lot like Shank's Kamusari, it's the same pose. Loki falls, and then Zebeck laughing says, "Vohaha, oh no, now Loki really is seriously injured." Page. Narrator. 8 years ago, during a reverie, the World Conference, something terrible happened. While we see the Pangea Castle, someone says, 5 kings from the Levely were attacked and kidnapped. It was a kidnapping case. The criminal is a big man, wearing black clothes. It's a kidnapping case. Then we see the flower room. Imu-sama, while a butterfly lands on his finger, says, "The lives of 5 kings must never be used as bargaining chips with Mew." We see a silhouette of a man sitting inside the flower room with a gun in hand. It's Zebeck, who says, "Makes sense, but the Holy Land is in panic now." At this moment, while a woman, the one who is always in the flower room with Imu, is shown, she looks a lot like Gunko, wearing a black veil and with her mouth covered. She also has 2 colored eyes. Narrator box says, "In history, never before, and maybe never again, an incident like this occurred. Someone broke into the deepest area of the Holy Land, the flower room." Page 4. We see that this surprises Imu-sama. The narrator continues, "The man claimed to be a devotee of Davy Jones. He really said all that. It was clear, direct, but before disappearing, he left one last phrase. Zebeck, with a maniacal look with his face shadowed, says, 'I will come back right here.'" Imu widens his eyes. While we see Pangea in the background, the narrator says, "It was natural that this incident would never come to light. But by irony of fate, on that same day, the Holy Land had allowed the entry of another intruder." While we see several Tenryubitos commenting about the other intruder, they say things like, "This one is much bigger than a giant." Another Tenryubito says, "I want him as my slave, he will be my new toy." Another Tenryubito says, "No, better kill and stuff him to serve as a collector's piece." We see a royal guard running. He says, "Guards, protect the lords." Then we see that this man is Harald. He is running on fire. Harald says, "It's damn hot. What fire is this?" Okay, I already understood I came in without permission, but what's with all this? Someone shouts, "Don't let him escape, he came to kidnap the royalty." Then we see the 2 men trying to flee, on one side Harald and on the other Zebeck. Then we see one of the royal guards saying, "The admiral was defeated. The criminal is heading toward the palace. Be alert." We see another Tenryubito who says, "Another one of them. Give me the biggest of all." Harald says, "That damn royal family guy, he was the one who made me wear that ridiculous outfit." Zebeck spots Harald and says, "Giants in the Holy Land? But what is going on here?" Then we see an amazing double page with both attacking each other. The clash of the king's hockey spreads. Their swords don't even touch. The narrator says, "The clash between two unknown ones swept all who were within a 5-kilometer distance from there." Zebeck, laughing, says, "Vohaha, identify yourself already." Harald says, "Barahaha, I'm Harald." Zebeck says, "I'm Zebeck. Run away from here, because if they capture you, you will become a slave." Harald says, "Okay, but which way to Elbof?" Zebeck says, "The new world is that way." Vohaha, if we survive this, we'll see each other again, Harald. Then Harald simply jumps from the red line while saying, "Don't talk nonsense, I don't get involved with criminals." Zebeck says, "Are you crazy jumping?" Narrator box. Just now, the Navy Admiral who was defeated by ROCKS is... Despite emergency procedures, the Admiral's life was lost. Because of everything the eyes witnessed, Zebeck quickly built an infamous reputation and caused a huge shock worldwide. We see the wanted poster of ROCKS D XEBEC without clearly seeing his bounty. A note here, his face and pose on the poster is exactly the same as Buggy's, with the tongue out and the same pose. As time passed, heading towards the Holy Land of Mary GOIs, a large ship carrying the heavenly treasure was attacked and plundered. After a bold escape, once again, with that money and the ship as capital, ROCKS plunged into the pirate world, starting his career. His moves were always closely watched, and he kept a critical stance against the government. He entered a ruthless game of rival pirates, Davy Back fighting fiercely among themselves, thus increasing his companions and flags, becoming more and more a pirate ship. A pirate group full of challenges, ready to face diverse battles. ROCKS used this game to his advantage, gathered the best leaders and crew, bringing together a gang to grow. Still without raising the villain's flag, they were just a bunch of criminals grouping up. The next target of ROCKS would be none other than, then we see Zebeck's ship. There are Stussy, Shiki, and Newgate. ROCKS says, "There's a sinister guy here. You'll be shocked too." Then we see the ship arriving at Elbof. The narrator says, they then arrived at Elbof. Going back 48 years ago, we see the castle of Orist. Zebeck says, "Oh, you really came back running." Harald says to Loki, "Looks like he's almost recovered. Good. I know you're strong, but don't go too deep into the underworld. It was just a cliff fall, and it's okay, but there are dangers there that can cost you your life, and there are many." Loki in thoughts. "Did Daddy come back for me? It must be a coincidence. It can only be that." Then we see they are at a big banquet. Harald says, "ROCKS, huh? I've already heard the rumors about you. What did you come to do here, after all?" Zebeck says, "Man, I was crazy to see you. Join us, Harald. Give up. The world government won't listen to your requests." Harald then says, "Do you know who I am? Don't talk nonsense, Zebeck. If we join a bunch of scoundrels like you, the trust of our allies and other countries will go down the drain." "What's that? So you're dominated by the world government. Is that it?" Harald says, "It's not like that. We are looking for our own path. Here everyone must be equal. Seriously." Zebeck says, "Stop talking nonsense, Harald. Elbof is the land of the strongest warriors in the world." Harald, annoyed, says, "That's a thing of the past. Elbof will change." Zebeck replies, "The true human nature. The blood of battle never changes. It's boiling in there. I know that." Newgate says, "Hey, can you at least eat in peace, huh?" Harald responds, looking at Shiki, the golden lion. Harald says, "You too. If you follow a guy like that, you'll just end up ruined." "Follow? Who?" "That idiot." "Jihaha, don't make me laugh. We're on our own. Even if ROCKS drops dead, it won't change anything." Shiki, the Yakuza, later known as the Golden Lion. "Exactly, but there's something in his plan. Smells like a bright opportunity to get rich." Mrs. Bucking, the scientific thief. "Heard of Hachinosu, the Exile Island?" Also known as Pirate Island. It's the island where countries sent criminals so cruel their prisons couldn't hold them. Don Marlin, the West Blue gangster. Newgate, it was supposed to be an uninhabited island without food where you just wait for certain death. Edward Newgate, the pirate, later known as Whitebeard. But in recent years, these criminals are surviving and forming their own organizations. What do you think is the reason? Wangchok, the pirate guru, future admiral of Pirate Island. Ganzui, there were gold veins under that island. Some underworld organization discovered this and helped the criminals get filthy rich. Ganzui, the smuggler. Note, Ganzui was that giant guy wearing full armor we saw in God Valley, and also one of Moria's zombies in Thriller Bark. Don Marlin is a gangster inspired by characters like Vito Corleone, maybe Biggie's father. And Wang Ji, Ochoku, is a guy who looks like Caribou and Korobu, maybe their father. Zebeck says about Hachinosu, even going to the island, it's full of brutal criminals. If you get close, you'll be plundered down to your last piece of clothing. That's where we went to negotiate with the government. If we recover that island, how much will you pay, huh? I'm the one who will command Hachinosu. Together with those bastards from the island, I'll create a pirate kingdom. I can even imagine the terrified faces of the government and the navy. Vohahaha. This is just the prologue of my life. With this island as a base, I'll annihilate the navy, take the Holy Land, and in the end, I will be the king of the world. Harold says, the enemy is too big. It's the whole world, after all. Zebeck says, think whatever you want. One day someone will make it happen. There's no power that lasts forever in this world. Come on, Harold. If you join me, together we can dominate the whole world. Loki says, the world. Narrator says later, Loki realized he had been saved. On the last page of the chapter, we see several ships approaching Hachinosu, while the narrator talks about what happened 4 years later, 44 years before the present time. 4 years passed since then, with Harold refusing Rock's invitation every time he offered it. And finally, Rock's plan with an elite group of people who agree with him is about to be executed. Rock says, let's go, guys. The chapter ends with the Rock's Pirates flag fluttering for the first time. End of the chapter. Pause next week. That's it. That was the chapter. What did you think? One of the best of the year? Remember, we will still have the analysis of this chapter and many theories, which I will release on both channels, here on Nerd Information and on Manga Information. So stay tuned to both channels. If you liked the video, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. See you next time. Thanks.